Welcome to the Possibility Hub video series. I'm Carol Talbot, the creator and founder of the Possibility Hub, an advocate for awakening, encouragement, and creating opportunities for an expansion of awareness and consciousness. In this episode, I'm back in conversation with Agustin Rodriguez, an airline pilot with over 20 years flying experience. His encounters with UFOs and extraterrestrials led him to further research and awakening, including meeting with the RAMA group, telepathic communication, and so much more. Welcome back, Agustin. We had such a fascinating conversation the other week, and we talked about when, as a pilot, you saw this light as you were coming into land and realized that it was a UFO. And as you realized that, it set you on a path where you were able to see these unidentified flying objects more and more, and almost to the point where you could call them in at will. That also led to your own awakening and research. And at this time, you were in Uruguay. So I'm curious, where did that research lead you? Because I know you came across a group called the RAMA group. How did that come about?
Well, it's a long story, but to make it short, and I was actually in Panama when I saw the big UFO, or the big encounter. Yes, I had another one in 2001 in Uruguay in the horizon, but I just disregard that one. I'm mentioning this because just you mentioned Uruguay. And from Panama, I went to Dubai. So in Uruguay, there is a group called RAMA, yes, but that group was initiated in Peru in 1974 by a person called Sixto Paz Wells, when he was around the table with his family, and they try an exercise that they just learned from a conference they attended, and actually they had a telepathic communication. But of course, they were doubtful about the source of that, but the same information was received by more than one member of the family. So they try again, and they started the contact with this being. I think that his name is Oxalc, and Oxalc invited them to meet him at Chilca Desert. I think it's south of Peru. Of course, because they needed a confirmation about what they were receiving. And that's how the RAMA contact started. They went to that place at that time, and a big flying saucer appeared in front of them at the right time that they were expecting. And this being told them telepathically as well that for further interaction, they needed to go through preparation. So that's how they started preparing themselves, and through different methods of meditation and taking care of mind, body, and spirit, they were able to enhance those experiences, and even being able to program those experiences as well and meet them in person. So that group extended or expanded to many countries, Uruguay one of them. And during my research, I heard about them. And at some point in my awakening, and my experiences were so big for me, at least, and so true, that I decided to speak publicly about this. So that's how I started speaking in some places in Dubai. Everything was very synchronistically because people was appearing in my life, and this offering of why don't you speak about this publicly just came up from a person that I met randomly in a very synchronistically moment again. And they said, yes, why not? So that's how I started speaking publicly about this. So I was organizing small meetings. Sometimes it's one person, sometimes 20. But that's how I started the Awakened Travelers group. So I kept their numbers, and we made a WhatsApp group, and now it's a big group in Dubai, and we have expanded to other countries as well. So the thing is about RAMA, that when I started sharing my experiences, I was doing it wherever I was. When I was flying, when I was abroad in other countries and speaking with people that randomly appear in my life, or my colleagues. And during the vacation that I did to Uruguay, I went back home to Uruguay. I did a conference in the Air Force Officers Club there, and there was a person that later on contacted me with a RAMA instructor. His name is Rafael Ulloa, and I didn't know him personally, but this other person made the contact among us, and Rafael interviewed me for his radio show in Uruguay, and that's how our friendship started. So I ended up inviting Rafael 2 times to come to Dubai to teach us and to speak publicly as well. We organized an event there about consciousness and extraterrestrial contact, and we did the practice at the desert. It was very, very nice experience. So that's how I started with RAMA, and we had very important experiences back in the desert, in the beautiful desert in Dubai. It was amazing. So big confirmation that we were in the right path, and yeah, that was how I was initiated in a way, in that knowledge, in that way of life, because it's about taking care of mind, body, and spirit, and be the best person that you can be, and to be light on earth. That's the meaning of Rama. Ra represents light, and Ma represents earth. So our intention is to be light on earth, and the more light on earth, the less darkness, of course.
So how did, my question here is, when you said they first started getting telepathic communication, and also this links to your experience as well with UFOs, because it's now well known that we do actually, in fact, have the technology to build these craft ourselves. So how do you make the differentiation between, extraterrestrials and man-made craft that are sent in really to maybe manipulate us, to put us in fear? And it goes back also to their experience, that telepathic communication. How did they know it was right, wrong, good or bad? Was it because the whole family had that experience? And how do they make that differentiation? So to reiterate, or just to, because I've said a lot there and there's a few questions, how do you make the differentiation? How did they make the differentiation between man-made craft and literally extraterrestrials?
Well, I think in a way you feel it. By 1974, I don't think they were thinking about man-made structures of man-made ships. I don't think they were in the knowledge of that secret space program that we humans have, that started in the 1920s. And yes, we have the capability of going off world much faster than in a rocket, and that's another story. We can talk about that later. But in terms of knowing what it's right or wrong in some way, either way, I don't know. I think it's a feeling. It's a knowing. And in my case, I was seeing these ships coming, and I don't think that even if we humans have the capability, I don't think we have that many to be in contact with us, in telepathic contact at the right moment that I call them. So that's the way I think I differentiate it. And in their way, in the RAMA way, I think it's the same. They have learned how to differentiate one thing from the other. And of course, they have met these beings in person. And actually, some of them have been taken out of the planet. So that is a very good way to differentiate one of the other, I think.
Can you tell us more about, you say some of them are being taken off the planet or have met them in person. How did that come about, and what was their experience? In terms of, did these beings take physical form? Because we all know that we're in a carbon-based density, and yet when you go through the dimensions, you're going into silica, crystalline, and also the higher dimensions do not require physical form.
Well, the thing is, we live in an infinite universe, so there is everything out there, everything from every planet. There is crystallized silica and non-physical. There is everything out there. But I think that the most incredible thing for us to understand is that there are also hundreds of races that are similar to us or identical to us, or I should say we are identical to them. So they were meeting people just like you and me. Yes, the eyes a little bit bigger or different features in terms of size, but overall, head, ears, nose, mouth, eyes, arms, legs, and torso. So it was very, very not easy, because of course you see the difference, and for them, they were afraid when you hear the stories the first times. It was a shock, because of course these beings have a vibration rate that it's for us quite high. So to meet them, to be in their presence could be shocking sometimes. So that's why the preparation is needed, and that's why they told the RAMA group how to prepare. So and how those meetings occurs. Well, in RAMA there are many initiations. Some of them are for healing capabilities, to enhance your healing capabilities and other things. And one of the initiations that they do, it's called the Sendra. And Sendra, it's the name of a portal that those beings out there can open, so we can interact face-to-face with them inside of those portals, or even through those portals, you can travel to their planets. And yes, this might sound crazy, but the crazy thing, I think, in this planet is to think that we are alone in the universe when we live in an infinite universe. So that's overall what we want to bring people, these new ideas, these new understandings, that no, you are not alone. Humanity is just in the baby steps of growing consciously, and that's why we are in this stage of development right now, and thinking that we are alone in the universe when we live in an infinite universe. And there is no probability that that can happen.
So this is quite exciting, really, that you say that they meet with other beings that are not the same as us and similar, because of course we are hybrids ourselves, and maybe in some ways we've got trapped into this density or a very narrow frame of reference. So what have you been, having been through the RAMA practices and initiation yourself, what have been your experiences when you've gone through these portals or this specific portal? What was your experience with these beings?
Well, I have never seen one of those Sendra portals. I haven't gone that far into the RAMA preparation, because in my experience, it was happening in a different way. My experiences of real personal contact happen mostly in the astral plane, or in this moment where you get out of your body and you just meet them. You of course have also a physical body, because you manifest whatever you want. So you are still in a physical body, and in my case, I have met them in this way.
So Do you think, I know your brother is also psychic and brings in many messages. So do you think this is an ability that is within your sort of family and ancestry? Because again, going back to the RAMA group, you said they had telepathic communication, but it wasn't just one person, it was like other people in the family, which reinforced their belief that, there's something going on here. Do you feel that's something within your lineage and your family?
Yes, we need to understand that we come to this planet with tools. And these tools we have gained along with many lives. And I know that this is not the first life that I'm working for this awareness, and I have gained my tools along the way. I've been shown as well that this is not the first time I'm working on this. So we are all the same people working in just different characters or different suits, and yeah, it might be in my lineage. Yes, my grandmother was also part of a spiritual group, and I think we decide where we're going to be born, and that's how it works. We just bring some tools. Not that everyone doesn't have them, but not everyone have developed them. Development. How do you say that? Developed.
You're
That?
right. Not
Yes.
everyone's
Okay.
maybe activated or has the
Yeah.
desire to develop them. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
So you run some of the RAMA meditations and some of the RAMA techniques with your Awakened Travelers group and share. Do you want to, maybe open the door for people who might be curious to know a little bit more about the RAMA techniques and moving towards perhaps opening that portal and, raising their own level of consciousness and awareness to be able to hold those frequencies, that oscillation rate?
Yeah. Well, the techniques are meditation techniques and self-awareness and self-dedication. So any meditation could be a Rama meditation. There is no just special things that you say or do that is going to take you higher than other things, but it's a concept about life. It's about taking care of your body, which is your temple. Don't if you want, we say that if you want higher experiences, you need to do higher things. So you know that alcohol is not good, so don't do it. You know that smoking kills you, don't do it, because you are sending a message to your body. So the overall thing is just be the best version of yourself that you can be at every moment, and that's it. Take care of mind, body, and spirit. And that's the way, and you, by putting your intention, you can open huge doors for awakening. So what we do with Rama, when we get together, we do a meditation, and being in a group makes that vibration higher, and being there with the intention of making contact with people from other planets put gives a direction to that energy into the right spot, into the universe. And as we are all in contact all the time, and there are forces out there that are unbelievable for us, we are heard, and they can hear us and they respond to us. That's part of the law of attraction of this universe that we live in. So in the Rama group itself, this plan, let's say, that those beings out there formed to help humanity, there were initially, if I remember correctly, 49 guides. So we know the names of them, and they have interacted with many people around the world through eons, because these people don't live just 90 years or 100, but they can live much, much more. So as I was saying, we just live 80, 90, that's an average, I don't know. And we have met them in previous lives. So they can follow us along our way, and we have been part of history probably, and they have been always with us. and we just go in a different suit, and they contact us again, and we start all over. And that's part of the plan. So when you are in the group, you go with the intention, you're taking care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. You're doing meditation, you're taking care of your thoughts, you get rid of anger and all these negative emotions that we could call negative, but are of course teachers. And that's it. When you are prepared enough, they start offering the experiences to the group. And as they say, they are going to offer the experience in direct proportion to the less prepared person. So it means that if in a group there is 10 people and one haven't done the work, or just in the scale from 1 to 10, it's in a 5, okay, they are going to offer an experience that is good for that person that it's in the 5, because it's not prepared for more. So they're not going to expose a person to something that he cannot handle or she cannot handle. But if the group is in a 10, well, here we go. Open the Sandra and let's make a trip. So that's how historically have worked in the RAMA group along South America, and now North America. They are experiencing more with RAMA there, even here in Europe. So that's how it works overall. It's about intention. It's about your inner work, and do the best, and everything is going to be given. It's just like that. It's very simple. Actually, people think that it could be hard, but it's so simple that it might. You might think it's not. That's too simple. There is something here, but that's the way it is. Everything is simple. You just need to go do what you have to do and put intention, and that's it.
I think that's a great example of surrounding yourselves by like-minded people who are willing to do what it takes. And you've also said it's, really about being that person, because, I see a lot of people who are sort of like really putting a lot of trying, and I use the word trying purposefully. It's not a word I usually like to use very often. Whereas sometimes we just actually have to come into that state of stasis, silence, stillness. And there's a lot to be said that happens. You become almost that magnet. Now, something else that you said, in that you said, we live in an infinite, cosmology, universe. It's naive to think that we would be the only sentient life form. How then do we ascertain the good, the bad, the ugly? And even when it appears and you say you have that feeling that it's good, still there's other agendas going on. How do you sort of wade through the dross to really, look, you and I have both been around people who've had experiences with entities or feel like they're being attacked, all sorts of things like that. So how do people protect themselves and ensure that they make the right alignment?
Well, that is a beautiful question. I have been there, I've done that. Yes, the thing is, and how it works, according to my experience and others' experience, when you start turning your light on, you are going to attract the attention, of course, because as you can see, we are thinking that this planet is alone in the universe, so there must be something wrong. How come we are thinking about that? So yes, there are agendas, and there are beings, entities that are trying to keep humanity in the way that it is right now. It has been for eons, and they don't want lights to be turning on constantly on the planet. So yes, when you start turning your light on, they see you and they might be willing to dim your light. but that it's perfect. That's the way it is. That's the way it works. That's how the universe works. It's a balance. And the only way you can prove yourself is by having the other part, the counterpart, let's say. The only way to prove your commitment is by receiving those greetings from the other side. So there is not really good or bad on that. It's just the way it is. And I have received those greetings, as people in the law of one call them, not to put a negative connotation on that. So in a way, I think, or I visualize them as they are my teachers as well. So at some point, of course, you get some fear in the middle because you don't know what is going on. And as I told you, I didn't have any background or any way of protecting myself, or I didn't even know what was going on. But the thing is, as you gain experience, as you start knowing who you are and you start understanding how it works, you start gaining your power until you really know who you are, and you really know that you are a very powerful being, that you are a spark of God, and nothing can do any negative on you if you really have gained your power as you should. So that's it. We have plenty of anecdotes about those encounters with negative beings, but at this point of humanity, we need to offer them forgiveness, and we are offering them forgiveness, and we are embracing them, and we are hugging them in love. We are putting light and love around them, and that is something that they cannot hold. So the best way, it's not an amulet, it's not stone, it's just about your power. It's about knowing who you are, where you come from. You come from the source, and just embrace your truth, embrace who you are. And if you are in that path, you are in the right path, nothing can touch you. And if you are working for the light, nothing can touch you. It's you reach a point in your awareness, in your conscious development, that you know that you can trace that line on the ground and say, okay, you want to come? If you pass this line, you will receive much love. And I have seen by myself, and I have experienced that when you offer that love, they run away. That's the way it works.
It sounds so simple to know yourself, because with societal conditioning, parental conditioning, the ancestral line, religious beliefs, to literally pull all that away and to understand your true brilliance and your true magnificence and the abilities that have been hidden, such that, you know, going back to what you said, that if you're, you know, these beings that come through hold such a frequency or oscillation, and it's hard for us to match that. The other thing that comes to mind as you were saying that is that you made a decision when you started, you know, doing research, started studying with the RAMA group, starting to open up and have contact more and more, and be able to literally call these beings in and these UFOs at will. When you started speaking about it, I'm very sure that you also got attacked in many ways. I know just recently I posted a little comment on an Instagram post, which was very innocently posted and just shared as, hey, have you considered watching this? And I was told literally within seconds that they couldn't have even gone to the link or seen what I'd posted about. Really, they hadn't gone to the link, but they immediately said, I'm a disgrace to society, you know, and it hits you. It's kind of like, whoa. And it again brings to the surface, you know, that we do like to be liked. We don't like to offend people, but you also bring to light the amount of people who are in this, very narrow bandwidth of information that they've been taught and told. And of course, it's perpetuated through Hollywood, through the media tremendously. So I'm sure you've also had times when you felt that, speaking up is challenging. Should I just zip it? So what's allowed you to keep standing up and speaking your truth, when I'm very sure that you've also had moments like that where people have looked at you and said, keep quiet, no, no, no. And it it's hard. You feel attacked yourself.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works. It's a learning curve. It's a learning process, and it's an amazing and beautiful learning process, because it's just that you are along the way. You don't know how it works until you know. And yes, all this resistance is going to be there. It's been there for me, even within my family. It's say, hey, don't speak about that because you're a pilot and you have a position. And as you know, I lost my job because of that. But when I was talking to the people in my company, the chief pilot and others, and they sent me to the psychologist as well. And I just hold my truth because it is my truth. And I recognize that they are ignorant about many things. And I'm not calling them ignorant as a negative connotation, but I am an ignorant about so many things in the universe and even in this planet. So I think we are all ignorant because we cannot know everything. So the psychologists, have been programmed to know what the actual system knows, and that's it, no further, unless the person itself become interested in something beyond. They just went to university. Doesn't matter if it was the best university in the planet. We need to understand that I don't know, some guy, very clever guy, long time ago, said that planet Earth was not the center of the system, and the scientists at that moment say, "Oh no, you're saying nonsense," and hey, look where we are now. We have just realized that yes, planet Earth is not the center. We spin around the sun, and that's the way it is. The main thing is that we need to recognize what we don't know, or to be open to what we don't know. So yes, it's going to be hard to open these doors to speak about these things among the people that don't want to hear, but just go to history. It's repeating itself once and again. So it's nothing new under the sun here. And yes, you will be attacked. But in my case, I have decided to stand my ground and say the truth. I don't have anything to hide. Those who are ready to hear will hear, and those who don't, they just won't. Doesn't matter if I show them the flying saucers or even those beings that are different. They will say, no, this is a character from Hollywood that you brought, and that thing it's an illusion that they just came out from the sun and the reflection with the water and whatever. So every human is going to reach a moment in their life that they are going to be open to this. And that's why our planet is going through so many catalysts of the experience, so many hard experiences in a way. It's just part of our awakening. And COVID is one of them, one of those things that are going to trigger the awakening of many people. And it's not the last, let's say, wars or negative thing that we are going to experience. And by the information that we have received from people from other planets, they are saying that as we haven't gone along the spiritual path and we are so separated and so materialistic, our transition into the new era or into the knowing of all these things, it's not going to be a smooth one. But it's all about our work as humans and the fact that we haven't understood our history, because in every religion, in every culture, there is something that is coming from the sky, the god Thor that is coming from the sky in a carriage of fire. Quran was given by Archangel Gabriel to Prophet Muhammad, or who is he? Okay, and Christians were speaking about the angels, and look at our history, and it's plenty of things coming from other places. So it's time to understand that the universe is full of life, and those are people out there. We are just at the baby steps of our development as humans. We just start flying like 100 years ago. It's nothing. And there are civilizations out there that they are flying 2 million ago, 2 million years ago, they start flying. So you might guess where they are in terms of science development and etc.
So really it's about, again, discovering who you really are and standing in your truth no matter what. And as you were saying that, because as I said, I do know what you've been through. As you said, you lost your job, another pilot reported you, which again, I find so narrow vision. If you have a problem with someone, surely speak to the person rather than report. And I know, some people and organizations' philosophy, and very much the philosophy that's going on in the world, is, snitch on other people, report other people. And I'm reminded of, conspiracy theorist David Icke, who was, right and royally raked over the coals in England when he was a very famous sports commentator. And when he had this awakening and shift, which he could not deny, he and his family were ostracized and ridiculed mercilessly, really mercilessly, in the press and all over the place. And yet still he rises, because whether you like him or hate him, whether you believe him, whether you don't believe him, he says that actually what he went through with him, his family, all being ridiculed, allowed him to have a resilience where he can stand and be who he is. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It gives you a different kind of resilience when you're standing in your truth, in your power, and you remember who you are, that nothing and no one can knock you by their words, by what they put in the press, because it's not true. And I really feel, and I'm sure you do, that is something to aspire to, and I admire you for standing your ground, because it created, a shift for you in terms of not just you, but your whole family, and deciding to make a shift to Spain. And it gives me great pleasure to be speaking with you today, because, I see how you're opening the door in many other ways, and that you took it as, hey, it's a nudge that I'm meant to move in other areas, other spaces and places, and creating that tribe and seeing awakened travelers grow exponentially in so many different parts of the world. It's beautiful. So I honor you for standing your ground, speaking your truth. As I said, after my little experience the other day, it's like, woo, sometimes it's easier said than done. And so what some of us do is like, we just, keep everybody away. But if you're really going to go and make a difference, you have to go out there as well and be that light, be that truth, be that beacon that people say, what are they doing? And you become that magnet instead, which is what's happening to you from the amount of new members coming up on Awakened Travels every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the way it works. We are here also to experience and grow. Not just to tell people about these things, and these, not just in the path, make us grow as well. So I thank to all those who have been the notch on my path, and I hug them in love, and I have learned a lot from them, and they have taught me how to be resilient. And here we are, speaking about the truth that we carry.
Well, I know we have more to discuss, and we'll certainly be talking more about some of your more recent experiences. And what I'd like to say, and I'm sure you would as well, is if you're watching this and you have had experiences with UFOs or telepathic downloads that you cannot explain, the Awakened Travelers group is a group where you can feel like it's your family, that it's totally acceptable to talk about these powerful experiences without people sort of slamming you, shaming you. So do connect, or like, comment, or share this video if you know other people who could benefit from being in this wonderful community that I'm proud to be a part of, and in some ways the custodian of the group here in Dubai.
Yes.
And of course, reach out to Agustin. There's many different factions of Awakened Travelers around the globe. Anything more you want to say about Awakened Travelers before we close this discussion today?
Well, we have a website. I think it's beautiful, made by our friend. I don't want to mention his name because I don't have the permission, but yeah, this friend made the website, and it's a beautiful one. It's www.awakenedtravelers.com, and you can go there. You have the link to connect with to our social networks and to send an email if you feel interested.
Great. Okay, thank you, Agustin. Have a beautiful day in Spain, and I will have a beautiful day today here in Dubai, and I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thank you so much.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to see you again, give you a great hug, and see the group again.